My name is Ray Gooch. I am with Spectrum Career, and I have a project called Job Search That Works, and I'm here to help you with any of your career-related problems, challenges. So I encourage you to ask questions. Peace, love, green. Thank you for joining. It's nice to have you here. Once again, this is an open forum. I'm going to start off with a couple of topics, but chime in. Let me know what's important to you guys whenever you're looking for a job. I've been in the career-related industry for like 30 years, and I don't think there's a situation that's come up that I haven't faced and helped people work through. So please, it's your forum, it's your platform. Come on, let's see. Yes, you cannot find a job. Well, I'm kind of curious. Where are you looking for jobs? Are you looking online? If so, just put a 1 in there. Sabriachka, thank you. Oh, one that you like. I thoroughly understand. Well, one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about today, 19, you said you haven't worked in 4 years. How do you get back in the work field? Well, there are a couple of questions here I want to address. Getting back in the work field, we'll talk about in just a minute, so remind me if I get sidetracked. But finding a job that you like, first of all, requires you to take a look at the things that you enjoy doing, things that really are important to you. I recommend to everybody that I coach to sit down with a legal pad and go through all of the things that you like to do and the things that you dislike doing. And take a look at previous jobs and see the things that you were really good at doing on that job and things that you really weren't that great at. And compare and see where there's a match between the things that you enjoy doing and the things that you're good at doing. And then there are resources available. I'm going to share one with you today on how to go about finding positions that utilize those skill sets. And before it slips away, I want to give you a web address where you can do a career assessment to help uncover and get the pump primed to where you can start thinking about the things that you like and dislike. And it's an interest assessment, and it's free. Go to jobsearchthatworks.com/interest. That's jobsearchthatworks.com/interest. And in that blog post, I've included links to an interest assessment that perhaps can help you. Ray Moss, thank you very much for joining. It's nice to have you here. Once again, for those that are just coming on, my name is Ray Gooch. The project I'm working on is jobsearchthatworks.com, and I would certainly welcome any questions that you have. Now, there was another question that came through just a couple of minutes ago that you haven't had one in about 4 or 5 years. One thing that you can do if you've been out of the work for a while is take a look at some of the volunteer activities perhaps you've done. Maybe you've been a parent, maybe you've been taking care of an ill family member. For some reason you've been out of work. Perhaps it's been going to college. If take a look at the things that you've been doing in your life. I mean, surely you haven't been laying on the couch for 5 years and watching soap operas all day long or game shows. So step back. Take a look at the things that you have been involved in. Make a list of them, whether it's volunteer opportunities, whether it happens to be, like I said, taking care of elderly parents. I have been doing that recently. I've been doing that for my parents that have been aging. And I tell you what, the management skills that are necessary to do that are really incredible. You know, you're having to coordinate doctor's appointments, you're having to coordinate benefits, you're having to help them pick out insurance programs, so really just about anything you've been involved in requires some degree of skill. And our job looking for a position is to identify all of those things that have been going on in your life that you are skilled at, you're really good at. You may not have received any pay for it, but you're still good at it. And whenever you begin looking for a job, taking a look at companies that require those skill sets is what's really important. Now, I don't want to take off and just monopolize this conversation. Let's see, you're a recovering addict. So for the past 4, they weren't productive. Okay, then I would recommend that you go back to before the addictions occurred. And first of all, are you healthy right now? Make sure that you're healthy. You know, if you're in a good place and it's time to get employment, then, there are certainly ways. Good. I'm glad you're healthy now, Nancy. That's great. I would take a look at what you did prior to the challenges that arose, and then build on those skills. Ty, thank you. Build on those skill sets that you have. Now, if you were in the banking industry, you know finance, were you in management? Were you in customer service, customer relations? Just take a look at what you were doing within the banking industry and what those skill sets are, and you'll be able to find transferable skill sets into other industries. If you're in customer service, my goodness, everything from the retail industry to sales, if you're working PR for a company, so many different things relate to customer service. So I recommend that you take a look at all of those things that you did previously that you really were good at, the things that you enjoyed doing, and as long as they match up, you're going to start finding positions in industries that really matter to you. I don't think it's a good idea for you to necessarily be stuck in a position just for a paycheck. However, you may have to take one temporarily just to make the bills make the bills every month. Now, Ty, one more. What did you mean by one more? I'm sorry, I don't really understand. I'd like to try to help you out. If you could be a little bit more detailed, I'd be glad to address that question for you. You know, ex-offenders, for instance, have the same challenges. There are resources available out there, and I tell you what, okay, you left your job to raise your daughter. Cool. Let me address that question here in just a second. You know, and whenever ex-offenders have challenges getting into the marketplace again, there are certain industries which will take on people that have those kinds of challenges. And I tell you what, if you'll drop me a note at jobsearchthatworks.com, I'll dig up those resources for you, and I may even have a list of companies that would, nationally, that would bring on people that have had challenges, whether it's an ex-offender or whether you've had issues with substance abuse or anything like that. Now, if you left your job to take care of a child at home, how do you describe that? You know, that shows an intense amount of commitment to things that are really important in life. And if you have a company that you're targeting that's socially conscious, and there are many more firms these days that are paying attention to bringing on people that are socially aware and want to make sure that they benefit society, those are the types of organizations I think I would research and see if there are any in your area and start making them aware. Family values mean a lot to me, my family means a lot to me, and I'm committed to making it happen. So much so that I'm willing to step back and sacrifice income to take care of my family for a few years and then come back into the workforce whenever my family's stable. Now, and I'm speaking from experience here. My wife and I made a decision when our kids were small that we wanted to have a stay-at-home parent rather than putting them into daycare. And that's exactly what Kathy did. She stayed home. And whenever the kids went back to school, she re-entered the workforce and eventually went back to a 2-year college, got a degree as an occupational therapy assistant, and she's been in that job now for 20 years. She went in and got some skills and some training. So if you are in a position where you've been out of work for a season and it's time for you to get back in, consider going back for some sort of training, even if it's computer skills, if you need to brush up on them. Go to, there's a good company, and it's not that expensive. And I'm not an affiliate here, I'm just sharing it with you because I know of them. It's lynda.com, Lynda.com. And they have thousands of training programs online, and if there's something that you are really interested in, you can get it pretty inexpensively, get a training, and promote that as a new skill set. But before you go spending money doing that, take a look at the things that you really like to do. Remember that link that I shared with you a few minutes ago, jobsearchthatworks.com /interest. Get the interest survey. Oh, you said what was the company? It was lynda.com, Lynda. Can you say the job search website again? Yeah. Lynda.com is the training site, Lynda.com. And the other thing that you can do is go over to jobsearchthatworks.com /interest for that interest survey. Now, and it's free, there's no charge for it. There are a lot of free resources at jobsearchthatworks.com. There are podcasts and blog posts and you can, there's a lot of free material to help you through challenging situations in your job search. So I encourage you, go there and make use of them. Did that answer your question? Let's see, that's it, lynda.com for training. Yes, that's correct. It's a great site, almost any interest that you have, and it's a very professional training site. They bring people into their studios and they do it right. So I really encourage you to take a look at that if you're needing a skill set brushed up, whether it's computer graphics or whether it happens to be word processing that you haven't done for a while, or you need some sharpen your skills in Excel. Those types of trainings are there, more than I could ever talk about here online. Now, any other questions? Transferable skill sets was the subject matter that I had in mind whenever I was thinking about getting a job that you really like. You know, I really don't advocate being miserable in your job. I think that maybe it's a little bit of a Pollyannish attitude I have, but I don't think you should do things that you don't like doing. I think that if you have to do it temporarily, that's fine. But you need to have a goal in mind to move forward into something that you really, really enjoy doing, that just satisfies you. And I found that after, pretty early in my career, and I'm so glad that I did. I've worked for myself because I didn't like the regimentation of having a 40-hour-a-week job that somebody else was telling me what I needed to do. So self-employment or being an entrepreneur was exactly what worked for me. That may not work for you. You may not like having to do all of the stuff that's involved in running your own business. But whatever you enjoy doing, you need to sit down and really take time to think about that stuff. And that's probably the hardest part of job search. You know, I want to be very candid with you here. I don't even help my clients that pay me construct a resume until they have gone through a very in-depth, introspective look at who they are and what they enjoy doing. That's the first step. It's probably 2 weeks before they ever build a resume, because they're finding out the things that are really important to them, what they're really good at doing, and then we begin matching those together. They may go into the same field that they've been in for years, and perhaps they don't. Perhaps there's a brand new job that they take on that they've never done before, but it makes use of the skill sets they have and duties that they actually like. So I encourage you, get out that piece of paper and that pen and start writing down the things that you know you really like. And if you can't identify what you're good at, ask your friends, what am I good at? What do you think are my strengths? Jot them down. Thank you, everybody, for joining me today. I'll be back again tomorrow morning at 10:30. If you like what you've heard, please share it. Once again, it's jobsearchthatworks.com. Thanks a lot. Have a good day, everybody. Bye. Was this episode helpful? If you know you need to shift your career into high gear and just can't find the time to jump through all the hoops that HR puts you through, if you've sent out hundreds of resumes with no response, or maybe you've had an interview or two and you aren't getting called back for the next step, you're in the right place. So click here to subscribe to this channel, and then go over to jobsearchthatworks.com for lots of free career advice in my podcast and my blog. While you're there, sign up for my mailing list to receive additional job search tools you can take immediate action on. Do it today, and I'll show you how this hiring game really works. It's your future. Take charge of it.